Welcome back to the Interchange Cordon today. We got a massive show on today. We got a very special guest on the show today. Donnie, he is a well-known figure amongst us boys. And not to mention, we have a brand new host onto the stage. Welcome Jesse Keys to the
Pleasure to be here for the long term.
Yeah, we decided we love this panel and segment so much in the first episode. We decided to make it permanent because Grinners decided to leave the show, unfortunately. But
R.I.P. Grinners.
Poor Grinners.
I don't think there'll be too big shoes to fill, so it should be pretty easy.
Yeah, your class.
So without further ado, I reckon we get stuck into the big week in footy that was round, 13, I think it was.
Indigenous round.
I'm going to start it off here. Big game. Not a big game. Gold Coast vs Carlton. Pretty standard. I was big on Gold Coast coming in, but they let me down. They're falling off at the end of this season. They looked good early on this season, but they're struggling to get wins. Carlton didn't actually play that well. Betts couldn't hold the ball to save his life, but they did get the job done, and it was a good game.
Yeah, quality game.
And next on, my boys, the Demons versus the Doggies in a Saturday Arvo. It was really just going to be a game of whose midfield would stand up and who would take their opportunities, and Dogs took their opportunities more, played the 4 quarters. Mitchie Wallace did not drop a mark and kicked straight. I think he kicked 5 in the end or 4. Yeah, it was blistering conditions and they were just the better team on the day. That's about all it is in a pretty crucial game for how the ladder shapes up this season.
Yeah, the game was really hot.
Right.
So it's a shame to see it be a bit of a blowout in the end.
Fizzled out like it did.
Next up, we head to the Adelaide Oval, where Hawthorn played Port Adelaide, and in the end, it was actually quite a close game. They were about a 2-goal gap between both teams throughout the game until the fourth quarter heroics by Zach Butters, who just came in ruck roving at its absolute finest in the goal square and slots it for Port Adelaide's win. Can't imagine many people watch this game though, so we'll move on.
Big game. I'd say it was the game of the round. Essendon versus Richmond. The scenes in the NT, it was amazing to watch. We want more games up in the NT, that's for sure. Don't want to dig too deep into the performance of Mozzie and co, but because that might be saved for the next segment. But Richmond were the far better team. Should have won by 50-plus points, but Essendon, to their credit, stayed in the game and challenged there. And if it wasn't for a few, let's just say, rubbish calls, they would have won the game.
Yeah. It got really tight at the end. It was good to see quality footy in the top end.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Next up, the game no one watched, Freo and Sydney. It was actually quite an intriguing game, though, in the end. I didn't watch it, but I had a look at the highlights and a few other things. And Sydney actually ended up with more inside 50s than Freo, yet Freo still ran out in a low-scoring game by 31 points. So Freo's back line, especially Luke Ryan, intercepted and everything, and their forward line, without many big names, are looking quite good. Tabernar kicked 2. Frederick, one of my favourites.
A big man.
Kicked 1, a little snag, provided a little bit of pressure, the cheeky pressure acts, but that's about all there is to say about that game.
Yeah, and then we head back to Queensland for what I also feel could be the game of the round 2 with the Saints versus the Lions top 5 clash. They actually they surprised a couple with their performance. Everyone, including myself, I didn't expect the Saints to win, even though I barracked for them. But they put together an all right performance, and in the end, there was only a goal in it in the last quarter. But just Brisbane's backline really managed to get the job done for the Lions because they had an absolute horrible game on the scoreline, kicking about, it was like 18 behinds. It was shocking. So Brisbane can thank their backline for that win, and also some little errors made by St Kilda, who just crumbled under the pressure at the end of the game. But yeah, great game. Finals atmosphere kind of game.
I'll lead it off. Another average game, Geelong versus Adelaide. Don't need to talk much. Geelong looking great. Top 4 premiership threats. Hawkins played well again. And Adelaide are not going to win a game. So that's good.
Yeah, that's enough said.
We hate to see Crom get up. West Coast Giants on a Sunday evening. I did tune in to maybe half this game, and it was actually an impressive game in the end. There was some hard hits. Absolute Tim Kelly crunched a few blokes. I think both teams had a bit to prove. West Coast are pushing for a tops, they're in the top 4. They're wanting that top 4 finish. And Giants are just holding on to the season, really. In the end, West Coast got up by 12 points. Who was it? Jack Darlin kicked a few. The class just came through in the end. But it was good to see Jake Riccardi, another tall forward for the Giants. Played very well, took many marks and kicked 2 in the end, I think. So
yeah,
there was some impressive signs there from the Giants, but in the end,
Giants just left it too late in the end.
That's true.
West Coast were dominating early
We'll
on.
be feeling the pressure towards this later end of the season to even make October actually. With the final game of the round on a Monday night, I'm not sure anyone tuned into this unless you're Barracuda teams, and geez, you'd be glad you didn't tune in because I tuned in for a little bit and it was an absolute bloodbath. The scores were something about 65 to 35, Collingwood getting the job done. But it was just a really horrible game. Both teams are battling injuries throughout the season, so they don't have their best sides, either of them. Collingwood, you'd expect they'd get the job done, and they did, and they got the job done in the end. So both teams really aren't in the greatest of positions at the moment, but Collingwood stuck it out and got the win against the poor old struggling Kangaroos. So that wraps up a big week of footy. And now we enter the bye rounds again. And now it's starting to really heat up in the race towards finals.
And I'll lead off with the highlights. Round highlights. My round highlight, it has to be Mozzie and just the NT atmosphere at TIO. Oh, was I up and about? A few of the boys would have said in the chat, I was really crying of happiness when Mozzie kicked his first goal. And then I ran into the living room and was jumping all over the place when he kicked his second on the run. Looks a class player and just the spark our team needed. Unfortunately, we couldn't get the job done, but it was a real exciting time, especially for his first game in the NT. Also, just the NT atmosphere, the pre-game, best pre-game I've watched in years. Of course, the iconic speech, as well as the songs being played. It was just, I'd love to see it again.
Yeah.
I'd love to see the AFL take the initiative and give them a few games there for Indigenous round.
It seemed like the place for the Dreamtime game.
And the locals got around it too. They were loving it.
Yeah.
All right. Next highlight was in the Hawks-Port game. Just the absolute sealer, the absolute clutch of Zachary Butters. Full pelt, ran in, got the tap off Scotty Lycett and runs in straight to the goal square, bangs it home to give Port the sealer. It was much like what you'd see Robbie Gray do in a couple of years ago. And it really just shows the youth of Port, which the media have hyped up, is proving to be there. And I've watched a bit of Zachary Butters, and I reckon he's just the future of the game. He's got the confidence, the ego about him. But more than
ego, charisma.
Yeah, got all the charisma. So it's good to see. Port do not like them. I don't think many people do unless you barrack for them. But it was a good game in the end, and it was good to see.
Yeah, and my highlight for the week, not much thought went into it. It just got me off the couch. It was actually Max King's mark in the second half of the game against Brisbane. He certainly frustrated all of St Kilda supporters, dropping at least 6 before he took that mark. But finally taking a contested mark like he did, and the size and frame to get as much hang time as he did, really got us up and about. But unfortunately, none of it mattered because he missed the goal and resulting in us losing by 2 points. So if he had kicked it, we would have won. But that just comes with experience.
That's footy.
It's really showing, Max King's really showing good, he's living up to his expectations as the one of the future key forwards of the competition. So exciting times ahead for Big Max. And yeah.
I was really hoping the highlight would be the Tim Membry selfish goal miss in the early. That was
no.
That was class from him.
That is, don't even get me started on that one. That is an absolute brain fade if I've ever seen one before. That was horrible.
We may as well go straight into the poor form tribunal, and I'll let the boys take it from here. But this week's display of poor form has to be the MRO, Michael Christian, and his calls on the Richmond players, Dylan Grimes and Nick Boston.
Not one of them. The consistency is just never there. You just see blokes diving in the AFL is just not something we want to see more of. You know, they scrub
We don't want to become
Tom
soccer.
Buckley a phone for it, which is what you want to see at least. And then the two Richmond blokes get off, you know, while they're
As
a
well
little
as
bit
Tom
different.
Lynch. As well as Tom Lynch.
As well as Tom Lynch, yeah. Well, while everything's a bit different, you just want to see consistency at the end of the day. And I don't know what's going in there with Michael Christian, but it's just not what anyone's looking for. And the media are absolutely just feeding off it like roaches.
Yeah, it's not good enough. And they're really, it really isn't a good look because they seem to be regularly favouring Richmond. And lots of people, not many people didn't like Richmond for a good amount of time. But at the moment, Richmond are starting to become a really hated side in the competition due to the way they get the treatment from the AFL. And I know I personally am not a big fan of Richmond at the moment. The way they go about things is just not really good enough. And I know they just smack in the face like, oh, we've won. We're a good side. We've won 2 flags of the last 3. Just shut up, mate. Get a grip. Come on. Match review officer, you need to pull your head and judge every team the same.
Yeah, that's quality. And now we'll enter into the episode. Pat Legro, a.k.a. Don, Gisborne Giants player. Here he is.
Hello,
cricketer for
I
hanging
am
rock.
honoured to be on this show today. How are we all going?
You should be.
Yep. I've decided to actually dress for the first time in about 3 months, so that's good.
You look quality today, Donny. We've got a lot to talk to you about. And we're going to start off. We're going to straight in here to your cricket season and your cricket stats as we do every week. Now, this season, you became a trader and left Gisborne for Hanging Rock.
Which was a
And
great way.
let's just say, didn't have a great season. Let's go through some of your stats here, Donny, mate. 7 matches, 19 runs, a batting average of 3, and a high score of 8. What went wrong for you with the bat this season, Don?
Well, I have to say I did have some terrible running partners. I got run out multiple times.
Not wrong.
And I also was, so just some big mistakes there. Having said that, my skills with the bat are probably not the greatest.
But
so,
you did pick it up with the ball with 5 wickets for the season and got a couple twofers. I'll read through some of your performances. Some good performances. 1 for 8 off 5 overs against Sunbury United and 2 for 19 off 5 overs against Rupo. What was doing it for the ball? With the ball this season?
We have a expression at Hanging Rock, crap gets wickets, basically. And, that basically worked for me. So, basically, it's a minor miracle anytime I get someone out, which is probably why I get mobbed every time because it's, very unlucky.
As the captain of the side, we tend to bring in the likes of Donny and Warney just to get a bit of excitement amongst the team. We know they will never fail to disappoint. They might get hit for 6 or 2, but they always provide a good show. And whenever Donny gets a wicket, I'll tell you what, there's an absolute uproar on the middle of the pitch.
Yeah, it's basically a minor miracle.
That will lead on to our second topic here, and your football career. It's unfortunately it's the end of Donny's football career. He's made the decision to end his career, and he's no longer after his Gisborne Giants premiership. He's become an umpire, and we all hate him now. What was the reason for leaving the Giants?
Let's not distract from the facts here. I am a Premier 2018 under 13 B grade. I was submitted as an overage player. I got an exemption. I'm pretty sure they thought I was the Make-A-Wish kid. And then come grand final day, it was very cold. It was about hailing, and I think I got a total of 1 touch and 0 disposals.
Good to hear.
So, 3/4 on the bench, I'm pretty sure, as the
Oh,
oldest
that's
player on the
quality.
ground. So proud of my efforts there.
Nah,
Okay.
I think you'll make a better umpire than player.
Yeah. Well, I was a
Yeah.
prolific bench warmer. So
Okay, we'll move on. Now, the name Don originated from Strathbogie Camp in Year 8. Can you talk us through how this came about?
well, it was about the fourth night of a school camp. So we were out in the middle of nowhere.
In other words, everyone's just
Insanity was starting to set in, definitely. And some people just started worshipping me. I think they were starting to get desperate. No social media for 4 days can take its toll. So they started worshipping me, and it got to a point where I was considered a god. So, and I was named Don, named after dinosaur Megalodon. So that was certainly an interesting development.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's quality.
good character
jeez.
going around.
Yeah.
And you worshipped like an absolute demigod.
Worship.
If you saw some of the antics we get up to, you'd think you're the bloody Virat Kohli of our school. The way.
Yeah. Well. Yeah, I do like to consider myself to be on the same level of skill at cricket.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, he's not even that good, really. Sure, Penn
Stats
has
don't
We'll
lie.
leave.
to say about that one.
Yep. And we'll swiftly move on to a bit of school stuff. Now, you've had a few school incidents over your years. This was, I believe, in Year 8, possibly last year. I think it might have been last year. And it was, you had a bit of an incident playing roulette on the basketball courts. Can you talk us through this one?
Yeah, well, good mate of the channel, Isaac Warren, probably not the brightest of blokes out there. So we were standing at the top of the hill and decided to yell, watch out, Paddy, and throw a stick as far as he could. And I was sitting down and I was not looking, and it just hit me flush on the head. And it started bleeding like crazy.
Not to mention, that was the
And
first
yeah, I had
target-
to get some stitches.
first target Warren he'd actually hit in his career.
Yeah.
So you got to hand it to
Probably
him.
the most accurate throw he's ever done. He got nowhere near that on the cricket field, so I don't know where that form came
To
from.
this
So,
day,
but
Warnie's parents still don't know that this occurred. So if you're watching you on tape,
if they're out there watching, yeah, it really hurt. So
yeah, don't forget the toe.
Oh,
Get a decent gash out of your head. Bringing some of the boys.
I think I lost a few IQ points after that. So.
Some of the boys even flirted with the idea that you had brain damage, but I think that was a bit of a stretch. But yeah.
Yeah, well, it's pretty easy to assume that I have brain damage. So
yeah. Okay. Now, we're our next little segment for you is a new one on the channel. We're doing some quick fire questions. Now, we're doing either or kind of questions, and you got to pick one of them without explanation. Now, here we go. KFC or Macca's, Don?
KFC. Yep.
An ice cream cone or a Zinger box?
Johnny loves his cones.
You know how much I love cones, but yeah,
Clip that.
Oh, good God.
Big Avengers fan. Endgame or Infinity War?
well, I have to say, Infinity War is a better movie, but I do personally prefer the emotional moments of Endgame. So
Yeah.
Movie.
Go to the movies or have a net session with the boys.
Oh.
depends what movie.
Oh.
Endgame or net session with the boys.
Probably net chess, considering I can already watch Endgame. So
That's pretty good.
answer.
The man of resources.
And now, between our three clubs, who do you like most? Essendon, Melbourne, or St Kilda?
well, pretty poor choice of clubs. I have to admit, low caliber of quality and culture.
Someone's booking.
But I probably have to pick St Kilda, simply because I just feel sorry for them. They're the pity team of the competition. Only one premiership, and they're basically everyone just feels sorry for them. So you just got to give them just purely based on pity.
Oh, I'll take what I can get.
And then
Yeah.
last few, watching footy or watching cricket?
Probably footy. This has just been more entertaining, generally. But
And
I don't know. Some footy games can be real fizzes.
playing footy or playing cricket?
Definitely playing cricket. I
Yeah.
can't really get more than a kick
Yeah,
over a 2-hour
That's
game.
alright.
So not very fun if you're not very good.
You're playing hanging off heels
Well-
cricket. That's the best. That's the best cricket going around.
Yeah,
Stuff first class
Well,
cricket.
can't argue
Donnie,
with that.
it's been a pleasure having you on the show tonight. You've brought us plenty of entertainment, and we'll catch you.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll be. I got to get back to my Tom Lynch highlights.
Oh,
What's
come
in
on.
my
Yeah, that was class from Donnie.
Yeah,
It was.
He's one of a kind.
Yeah, you bloke. If you're not from our area, you wouldn't quite understand quite the antics about Donnie, but it is something else.
If we can add some clips in of some of the antics we get up to, we will. And if we find some, we'll definitely put it over the talking. But my God, he's one of a character, and he's a passionate Richmond fan, and he never fails to voice his opinion on the weekends.
As we're finishing off the show, if you haven't already, drop a follow to the Instagram page, the Interchange Cordon. We'll be posting stories and posts with some of the highlights from these episodes and our upcoming guests and so forth. And we're planning on having some big guests soon.
Yeah, anything you need to know about the show will be on that Instagram. There'll be a link in the description. If you're not following it already, I highly recommend following it. And I think without further ado, we've pretty much wrapped it up here. So that's all we've got time for this Thursday afternoon. Make sure to drop a like. Make sure to comment down below. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. We're actually very close to hitting 1,500 subscribers. And we've got to mention it. The Rexona cans. If you're out there,
Sponsor us.
Rep from Rexona, give us a call, give us a buzz. H is just absolutely yeah, camera. See that coming. And on that note, I think we will leave it there. So until next Friday, 7 p.m, we'll see you later. Thanks for your time. Catch ya.